Good evening, distinguished guests. It's an honor for me to be here and to talk about Javier. He approached me about 4 months ago, and he told me that I just needed to do a little video for him, and it was going to just take me a couple of minutes, and I didn't even have to show up to the dinner. And that's how he works. He kind of reels you in a little bit and makes you makes you commit to something. And then once you commit to something, that's why he's so popular in his caucus. As most of you know, I'm a Republican member of Congress. I am the first Hispanic to be elected from the state of Idaho to Congress. But you need to know that I am not the first Hispanic to be elected in Idaho to a major office. Our state superintendent for the last 8 years was also Hispanic American, and he was elected twice to statewide office in the state of Idaho. Also, something that's interesting about Idaho had the first Jewish governor of a state to finish his entire term. California had the first Jewish governor, but he died in office. That's how bad it is to be a member of the California statewide office. But Idaho had the first Jewish American to finish a term as governor of a state, Moses Alexander. We also had the first Native American attorney general of a state. So Idaho, even though most of you may think of Idaho kind of as a backwards place, is actually the opposite. It's a pretty progressive place when it comes to electing statewide office holders and also members of Congress. But I do always joke around when I talk to people. My district is approximately 9% Hispanic. The state is approximately about 9% Hispanic. But I'm also Puerto Rican, which if you, Boricua. And I am, if you look at the demographics of Idaho, I always joke that there's 6 Puerto Ricans in the entire state of Idaho. Myself and my 5 kids. It's a very small population, but it's a wonderful state, and I welcome all of you to come. Anyway, it's a really great honor to be here with Javier. I read up a little bit about his relationship with Edward Roybal, and I was impressed I didn't know much about your relationship with him, and I was impressed, and I can't even imagine what a great honor it is for you to receive an award in the name of your mentor. Because as all of us know who are here today, how important it is for mentors in our lives. We wouldn't be here without mentors in our lives. We wouldn't have achieved any of the things that we have achieved in our lives if it weren't for people who took the time to teach us and who took the time to work with us and to help us be better. And I just can't even imagine how proud you must be tonight, and your wife, your beautiful wife and your daughter, of being here at this moment to be honored in the name of somebody who meant so much to you. And it's really fantastic that you are being given this honor. Now, I was surprised that he asked me to speak for him, and I'll tell you why. He and I spent a long time working on immigration reform in a group of 8 people in the House who were trying to get to some sort of compromise. And I don't think any 2 people in that room butted heads more often than Javier and I did. And we both did it, I think, for good reasons. We both were representing our values and our interests, and we were representing the things that we cared deeply about. But I think we both had a common goal, and I think that's why he invited me to be here today. We had a common goal of actually getting something done on immigration reform. We had different approaches. And I learned something when I was working with Javier. There's different kinds of politicians. And there's people, when I'm working with the other side, with people on the Democratic side, I have to be careful, obviously, some of the things that I say. But there's some people that I'm careful with because I'm not sure they have my best interest, or I can trust that we can actually agree on goals and principles. So I'm very careful around them when I'm talking to them. But with Javier, it was different. And I think if you look at his resume, you understand that he's not a dumb guy. I mean, you don't graduate from Stanford in both undergrad and law school to, if you don't have a brain on your head. But what I also learned is that I had to be really careful, because he's so smart that he can be 3 or 4 steps ahead of you when you're working with him. So I actually stopped, in some cases, sharing things with him, because I knew that he was 3 or 4 steps. I knew where he was going, and I needed to be very, very careful, because if not, he was going to make me look like a fool. But I really enjoyed that time, and I really, thanked him. I don't know how many of you know, but I actually ran for Majority Leader of the House. That was very successful, as you can see by the lack of title next to my name. But I ran for Majority Leader of the House, and all these people were being asked what you thought about Raul Labrador. And Javier did something which was really funny. He went on national TV, I think it was C-SPAN that he went on, and he said, one of the pure things about Raul Labrador is that you know what you're getting. And while he's extremely conservative, which I am, far more conservative than I would like, at least I know that. And it's easy to come to terms with someone so long as you know where they stand. You can reach common ground with a person like that. So knowing how smart he is and how he's thinking 4 or 5 steps ahead, I wasn't sure if he was trying to make sure that I didn't win the race, because I don't know that an endorsement from Javier Becerra gets you much in the Republican conference. In fact, you can say that Javier likes to fight for losing causes. If you recall, he ran for mayor of the city of LA. But you also recall he was a big fan of Howard Dean. And then he became a big fan of Raul Labrador for majority leader. So if you're running for any major office, do not ask for his endorsement. It's not going to help you. But seriously, I have always enjoyed working with him. It's been a pleasure for me to work with him. It's an honor that he asked me to be here tonight. And I think very few people can say that he hasn't worked hard for the Latino community. No one can say that he hasn't done his best since 1992, back when I think I was in high school. But and it's amazing that he looks younger than me. But very few people can say that he hasn't done what his mentor taught him to do, and that he hasn't worked hard for the people that have elected him to office. And I think it's a tremendous pleasure for me and for all of you to be here tonight. And thank you very much. And I just want to congratulate you for this amazing achievement.